Everyone. This is Bodong Chen. I am an associate professor from the University of Pennsylvania. It is my pleasure to join you today virtually to talk about how to enhance student and teacher agency in knowledge building with AI. I want to begin by grounding us in ideas about knowledge building. At its core, knowledge building is about students working together as a community to continually improve their ideas. There are three key elements in KB I want to highlight, which include agents, or sometimes students, who have real epistemic agency about the learning, artifacts created by those agents that capture and evolves ideas, and also practices that support idea improvement in a community. And in knowledge building, technology has always been an integral part. On the left, you see Knowledge Forum, which is the digital environment designed for knowledge building. Students post notes on Knowledge Forum. They build on each other's ideas and create knowledge artifacts together. On the right, you see a knowledge building wall, which is a physical space designed by teachers and students to achieve the same purpose, which is to make ideas visible so that students can continually improve them. Those technologies have been around for decades, but now AI has entered this picture. The question that many of us are wrestling with today is how we can integrate AI thoughtfully to support knowledge building. And to me, the answer to those questions requires us to consider essential knowledge building principles. And the first one I list here is about epistemic agency, which means students should have high-level agency over what they want to know and how they arrive at knowledge. And the second one is about knowledge-creating dialogues, that kind of dialogue that seeks to create and improve ideas, not just dialogues to seek simple answers. And the third one is about transformative assessment that does not only assign a grade, but to arrive at an understanding of the state of the art so that it can feed forward to possible progress, just like how people working at the knowledge frontiers do. So a central question for us to consider is how we can use AI to uphold those principles rather than undermine them. That is what I want to explore with you today. And to do that, I want to briefly share two examples, one about integrating AI into student dialogues in a knowledge building classroom, and the second one is about a tool called TrackPad that my lab has created to help teachers design knowledge building classroom with AI. In each case, I'll briefly walk you through our goals, our designs, and what we learned from those efforts. Let's start with students. In this case, the context we worked with was a high school classroom from Bogota, Colombia. And this class was studying or investigating world religions and under the guidance of an experienced KB teacher. Students were using all kinds of tools such as Knowledge Forum, Miro, and at that time, ChatGPT. Because we didn't want AI to replace student thinking, a central design question we faced was, how do we distribute epistemic agency between students and AI? Working closely with the teacher, we came up with an important strategy that was to carefully situate AI within this knowledge-creating dialogue moves framework. And this framework was created by Dr. Carl Breiter and Martin Scarmelia. And you see here a list, a set of moves that includes problem definition, proposing new ideas, having critical discourse, and so on. And our design approach was to position AI as a participant in those moves, with the students maintaining control of how AI should contribute. And here you see a clearer picture of how those moves or how AI was collaborating with students. And here there are two different design patterns we came up with in this design effort. On the left, the first design pattern is about exploring the problem space. Students were using ChatGPT much earlier in their inquiry to generate initial questions, uncover complexity about religions, identify gaps in their initial understanding so that they can go deeper. Basically, this was like using AI as a thinking partner to open up the problem exploration. In the second design pattern on the right, it is about building knowledge through discourse. And here students used ChatGPT much later in their work to generate alternative perspectives that may challenge their existing ideas, to push back on their thinking, and to deepen their collaborative efforts. I won't spend time to unpack the details, but the key thing to notice here is in both patterns, students were in charge of how AI should be used. They were using AI strategically at different points of the inquiry so that AI plays a meaningful part to advance their knowledge building work. And our analysis surfaced some very interesting findings. And I think one interesting one to share here is that student reported that AI made the learning harder instead of easier. And to us, we see from the analysis of student reflection and their work that they made effort to understand AI, to develop AI literacy, including how AI works, limitation of large language models. And they realized that they need to do fact-checking all the time, and they saw the risk of over-dependence on AI. So they were making visible effort to maintain a critical stance while they were using AI. And in the process, students took high-level agency over their learning. They use AI for inspiration instead of answers. They engage in prompt design, learning to ask better questions. And also, very crucially, while they were using AI, they were still collaborating with each other, with their peers all the time. And AI didn't take them away from their peer collaboration. So in this case, it is important to notice that by maintaining epistemic agency, students learned about AI. And in the meantime, they learned how to learn with AI in this case, which is very important today. Let me now shift to the second case, which focuses on teachers. And in this case, involves a new technology named GraphPad that my lab has been developing to support teachers as designers with professional agency. We want teachers to be designers, not just consumers of AI-generated content. So GraphPad has been designed with some key features. And the first one, as you see on the slide, is GraphPad provides a flexible working space, which functions like an infinite canvas that has pedagogical scaffolding baked into the technology or the tool. And here the teacher can do all kinds of things pretty freely using this canvas space, taking notes, adding multimedia objects, and dragging and dropping different things and moving around different artifacts on the canvas. And the second feature, also very important, is a context-aware KB coach, which is a chatbot that understands knowledge reading principles, is aware of what's going on the canvas, and could engage in conversations with teachers using GraphPad. And the third feature is we try to offer rich opportunities for teachers to make decisions throughout the design process, ranging from all kinds of metadata about lesson design to very fine-grained refinement of the lesson plan, such as you see on this screenshot, the teacher was requesting AI to make revision of a draft or a specific section of the draft, and AI was involved to generate new version based on the teacher's decision. And even though this work is still early, we're getting some encouraging preliminary findings. On the left, you see data from the teacher's design effort, which include whether teachers are making many revisions of their lesson design, which is something we wish to see. We see a lot of teachers went beyond the single AI generation to make modifications and engage in iterative design with GraphPad. On the right, you see some initial data about conversations between teachers and KB coach. Most of the conversation were pretty short, focused on the teacher requesting for revision of their lesson design. And there's some other instances where teachers had many rounds of discussion with KB coach. One case was about how to connect UN Sustainable Development Goals with photosynthesis unit. The key point here, I think, is teachers are designing with AI, not just consuming AI-generated content. The findings, even though early, shows that we could try to support teachers to have more agency and engage in this kind of iterative, reflective practice of designing for knowledge-building classrooms. And looking across both cases, we can see that with students, we position AI within dialogue moves. Students were able to maintain epistemic agency. Learning becomes harder, but also deeper, and students collaborated with each other, even though AI was present. And with teachers, we position AI as a design assistant or coach. Teachers maintain their professional agency. The design is iterative and reflective, which is something we hope to respect and nurture as AI gets introduced to the toolbox of teachers. And to conclude, I think it's important to highlight that as we integrate AI in education, the question is how can we continue to design for high-level human agency, thinking about AI as a flashlight that can help humans see instead of magic that invites or requires a lot of trust from humans. So I think there's a lot of additional work that many of us are engaged in, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you all. With that, I want to thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to take questions. And if you're interested in learning more about our work, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.